Orlando Brown is going to be in Kansas City. We probably knew that. But now you get a tag and you get options. We're going to go through all of your questions tonight on top of what this free agency group will be. And hey, we're going to give you a little bit of combine reaction because I am knee-deep in the athletic matrix. It is coming for you. I hope you guys are ready. Welcome to RGR Football. I'm digging the vibe. One person who is not is Calvin Ridley. I know you guys have questions. We're just going to tell you now. I told you last week, no, I have no interest. There's no interest. No one can have interest. He will be gone for an entire year, if not more. We'll deal with that when we deal with that. The Chiefs are still in the market for a wide receiver in free agency and I think the draft. And the big news today was, hey, they went and did it. The tag is on Orlando Brown. I think it's a great move. I think we knew this was most likely, but Dan, what do you think of the news?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think that they actually updated it to the non-exclusive franchise tag is what they ended up saying just maybe about an hour ago. And I've been too busy making dinner to keep an eye on everything. But yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to keep your options open for now. They need a little bit more time to get that contract done. I do think that he's going to be a Chief for the foreseeable future at the very least, probably for quite a while. He's still quite young. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, we assumed this was coming. So makes too much sense. And hopefully they can figure this contract out in the next, probably, I would say hopefully a month or two.
I hope so. I think that they will. It's certainly a possibility. And folks, if you saw my instant reaction today, it really is an umbrella that just lets them take their time and try to get a long-term deal done and know that he's under contract. It's an easy way to get it done. This is kind of what we expected. Not really a shock. I thought there was a small inkling last week when they said, hey, they're progressing in contract talks that maybe they could get it done. But now it's like, you don't have to worry about it. You can handle your other issues and come back to it after the draft. And I expect before camp, there's still a shot at getting a long-term deal done right now. Not a big deal. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm going to try to address all the Ridley stuff right now because there's just not much to it, guys. I know you asked about my opinion last week and the week before that, and I just wasn't interested. A guy that walks away from his team tells me he has other issues going on, something that he had to go take care of. Clearly, gambling was it. So I'm a little surprised by it, but it doesn't change my opinion in the slightest.
It was a 5-day bet. It was 5 days. Like it's not even something he was just happened to do it. That's all it was. And that's the one thing I'll tell you guys right now is I think that the length is ridiculous considering everything else that gets like 2-game suspensions, like domestic violence, things that actually, are much worse than gambling on games that aren't your team, for example. So I think that that's a bit of a suspension is warranted. They got to figure out the lengths right. Like that's what this whole thing is. You got to get the dichotomy of what you're suspending players for right. Otherwise, you're making look like a laughing stock anyway. And that's what they are. They're getting crushed for suspending guys like Ray Rice for 2 games or something like that for what happens in these scenarios. Like that's what it is when it comes down to. So I do think that your suspension is warranted. I also think that they've given him a huge amount of length to appeal, and I believe that will come down personally.
I think it probably will too. And I knew they had to do this. They had to hit the first offender hard to knock it out of the park.
Yep.
Because everyone in the league has to know you can't bet. And as I understood it, it was on his own team. So that I think changed.
Oh, was it? Okay, maybe I misunderstood that, but either way.
Yeah, you never know. We're going to get into that. And folks, we probably won't address any more Calvin Ridley tonight.
Yeah,
so if you're asking questions or if somebody comes in late, we're just going to jump past it. So we are going to get to your questions now. If you want to support the channel, the super chats are the way to do it. People are already in here and doing that. Helps us help you and keep producing this content over and over and over and over. And we will keep doing that. Aaron Morrow is in the chat. I think the rest of the guys in Stevie and Gooch will make it here as well. I know Jeff's been tied up, but we will likely see him. I'm kind of stacking these questions. And Kansas 2 Cali, looks like you had an interesting one. Did they announce a cap jump? 25 mil? I was not aware of that.
It's 208.2 million set for next year.
Okay.
They kind of slid it in there after the whole Ridley bomb dropped. They just showed, we're going to let you guys know this is the cap for next year. Hey. Just heads up. So yeah, it did jump up that much for this next year.
208 sizable. I like that. I don't think it changes anything, you guys.
No.
From the projection that I saw today, they're still -5, which means, as I outlined this morning too, the Mahomes roster bonus restructure is coming, and the Frank Clark cut is coming. That's how they're going to get that, so they're under the cap by the day. We have 9 days until the league year starts, and you can start free agency. So that's where it's coming. Matthew, I think, is interesting. We haven't talked since the Matthew news. And so just to address your question here, Kansas Cali, I think when they said, hey, he might get double digits, I think that means the market's softer than we all thought, and he certainly thought. So I think there is a possibility if he's only getting like 8-9 million per year offers, if that's what the Chiefs were at, which is probably my guess, anybody who comes up even with the Chiefs win, and he would rather come back and have a chance at another ring.
It makes too much sense.
You agree with that?
Yeah, and I actually talked with Sterling on the home stretch today on ESPN, Kansas City Radio, about this situation. I did a little bit of research into the safeties that are being paid more than him. We assumed he was going to try to make top flight safety market value, that kind of stuff, right? There's six safeties in the NFL that have made more on a per year basis than Tyrann Mathieu this past season. He made $14 million a year. Only one of those 6 safeties was older than Tyrann Mathieu. He is not going to get a market-setting contract. He's not going to get above what he was making. You're only getting older. And unfortunately, I think he's one of the top 3 safeties in the NFL. The problem comes where you can get safeties a dime a dozen in the NFL. We saw a Trey Boston continuously give that 1-year contract, and he came in and was a very good safety. He produced at that level. So I think you're seeing, as you get older, and some of these teams are going to lowball you with these contract offers. And I do think the market's not going to be where he thought it was. That bodes particularly well for him staying in Kansas City. Maybe it's still more that he leaves in free agency, but I think that I'm looking a little bit better in terms of the optics of his contract situation here in Kansas City than it did previously. Looks like I'm a little stuck out. Is he stuck or am I stuck? I don't know what's going on. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Or is Ryan gone, or am I gone?
Hey.
We got back?
We have a snowstorm out here, folks, so this may happen a couple times tonight, but Dan will lock it down if we keep going. But
I was just trying to make sure.
I don't know what you said, but I'm with you.
Okay.
No, you're good. So if that happens again, Dan, just do what you like, folks, and I will eventually return.
Okay.
Bartimus, at this point, do they go safety in the first, following on the Tyrann discussion, if no edges are available? And while Dan and I have both outlined that we like Dax Hill in the first round, I think we're both comfortable with that. I might even be talked into Petrie. I'm not 100% on him. I haven't done enough of his film yet. But it doesn't mean that just because Tyrann's gone that you go do that.
Yeah.
Because there will be edges, there will be wide receivers, there will be linebackers, and there will be tackles available that are likely, in my opinion, if Dax and Hamilton are gone, that are likely going to have a better grade overall. And so if you have a gap anywhere in there, you can't pigeonhole it because Tyrann left. You have to go get a safety in the first. You have to take the best position, the best graded player available that can help you right away, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that player might actually end up being Daxton Hill. I think he's a top 20 player in this draft, and that's what it comes down to, is what you value in terms of the first round. Is the NFL going to value him as a slot corner? And if they do, that's going to push him down boards. I think that his testing numbers and the way that he performed at the combine showed you a little bit of what he can do, just in terms of, I think he can play safety. a deep safety. I think he can play strong safety. I think he can play slot, and I think he can play an outside corner. I legit think he can play all 4 of those positions. So that gives you flexibility at at safety or slot corner if that's how you want to go. So how do they value him? What edges drop? Do any edges drop? Like, this is what we're going to have to see as that first round goes through, and they're just going to have to start going off of what they end up doing in free agency. So you definitely don't want to pigeonhole yourself. That's not what you end up needing to do, because you could just miss on the pick completely, and then guess what? We're talking about another year without a first round pick that pans out.
Yeah, that's definitely the way that it goes. I mean, you can't take that chance. If you were to do that, you put yourself in such a hole that I don't think you can recover. Yeah. And I think at some point we probably need to do like a walk down of, like, you've been doing a lot of the what do you call it? The skill positions. I've been doing a lot of edges and D linemen and linebackers. I'm not that impressed with a lot of guys. I'm probably higher than most on Cam Thomas. I'm probably lower than most on Jermaine Johnson. I don't know. I think he's a fringe first round player.
Yes,
There's people that have him in the top 10, I think, are insane.
I'm lower.
Okay, so you're even lower than me.
No, not on him. I'm okay on Johnson. I think he's probably about where you have him. I'm much lower on Walker than everybody is. Like, I'm much lower on Walker. I think that obviously the physical tools, everything is there from an athletic standpoint. The dude has all of it. Like, I really do believe that. So I understand getting him, and that's why in my video when I broke him down, he's a stud run defender immediately. Immediately. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah. If Chiefs fall in love with him, you could see the Chiefs trade up for him. I'm just going to tell you guys, it's all about who Brett Veach falls in love with this week. Bradley, any tight end's worth a high draft pick for the Chiefs? Absolutely not. There shouldn't be a tight end in this first round at all. Trey McBride should probably be the first one off the board around 50, and that's about it. Everybody else is a toss-up.
I think you think he will first. Yeah,
he might. The production there for me wanes, but he's definitely more the athlete. I think there's a ton of middle guys that can be nice backups in the 3rd, 4th, 5th. I think that's where you're going to see tight ends, Bradley. Patrick, was the franchise tag the smartest play for the cap space needed for free agency? Feel like that they might not allow us to spend like needed. I like the Rogue family. Thank you, Patrick. They really didn't have an option. They are now 8 days from the deadline for the new league year. They had to have a deal in place, or they had to use the tag. So there really isn't any other way around it. But quite frankly, you're going to get 22 back from the Mahomes roster bonus restructure. You have 2 other moves. I can't remember what they were. I think it's either the Hill extension, or you can also do a roster restructure with Chris Jones and get some money back too. They could get up into like the 20s in cap space, and that's fine for free agency. They shouldn't be spending more than that anyway. But then they're going to get an additional 19 back on Frank after the post June 1st. The problem is it won't come off the books until June 1st. That's just the way that it works. It's not worth the 6.8 that it would cost you to release him before then without the designation, because you're going to need it on the backside.
Exactly.
So that's just where they are. I don't think they had much of a choice there, Patrick. Dave, how many picks do the Chiefs actually have this year? Right now they're sitting at 9. Do you think they take 9?
No, I don't. I think they'll take like 8 or 7. I think they're going to try to use some of those later round picks to move back up into the 6th and 5th. Just try to play around a little bit, because we know they find somebody they like, as they've seen with Mike Dana. They're going to go get them, and with Bo Pete Keys, they're going to make sure they can get that player. So,
by the way, folks, I was wrong. Zion McCollum is better than Bo Pete Keys athletically. I knew he was good, but until I ran the numbers, and he's the only safety I've run the numbers on before because I was just so intrigued, he is dramatically better than even what I had thought watching it live.
Yeah.
He will be a day 3 pick. He'll probably be a late day 3 pick. Chiefs will love him. He has all the athleticism that they always want, and he looks coachable. John Harris, who is the sideline reporter for the Texans, works with us over on the Locked On NFL Draft Show. He's been watching him since he was in high school and thinks that he is the guy that will be able to progress all the way up to the point that he can be an all-pro.
Let's go.
I trust John's opinion, and I would love to see him in Kansas City. DT Wyatt had the 13th fastest 3 cone, I think, and the 8th fastest change of direction. I'm not sure that's true yet. madman. I haven't calculated yet. If you're just talking about the raw short shuttle, sure, but the change of direction metric that the Matrix puts is a combination of what D linemen do. He would make a better player on D. He would make the player better. Yeah, absolutely. I think he's the best interior pass rusher in the draft. 13, it's funny that you say 13 because I don't think he gets past 13 with Cleveland. So you want him, you got to go get him, is my opinion. I don't know.
I'm more of the opinion that Cleveland's not going to be taking a defensive tackle, but that's me.
I wonder, from what I'm hearing in free agency, there's a lot of rumors going around that they are stomping their feet to get everything but the defensive line. I think they lost Ogunjobi, and I think they lost their other starter as well.
They lost Malik McDowell because of his return issues in the off-field issues. So he's gone. But again, positional value. Like, what do you think is going to help you best over the long term? Wide receiver? Yes. Or defensive tackle? Yeah. Are they actually going to do it? That's the thing.
So, absolutely, Madman. Love what he brings to the table. Like, if he fell into the 20s, I would even consider, giving up a 7th to go get him. You can only move up 2 or 3 spots at that value, but hey, who knows? If you're within striking distance, why not? Brett, what are the dates to know for the offseason start of free agent draft training camp? League year starts next Tuesday. Free agency opens 24 hours after that on, I believe it's the 16th. That's next Wednesday, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Then OTAs start mid-April. I don't have the exact dates. The draft is April, 29th?
29th or 28th, something like that.
And then training camp will open usually like the last couple of days of July. I don't have those dates yet. They won't announce that for a while, Brett. Daryl, thank you for the super chat. And folks, this is the easiest way to support us if you would like to. If you do want to join the memberships, that's another way. And if you click join, make sure you join as a rookie. That's one of the commitment levels. And then you can send me an email at this address and we'll get you into the Discord. The Discord's a lot of fun. There's a lot going on there. Let's get back to this. Nope, next question. Sorry. Got Brett. Daryl's. What are the chances of getting Matthew back? That's a good question. What do you feel his market is?
I think he's going to be sought after. It's all going to be about the money. Our team's willing to pay for it. There's going to be a little bit of a stalemate in terms of offseason guys. What teams want to pay the double digits we're talking about? What teams want to creep up to that $14 million per year that he was getting in Kansas City? What have the Chiefs even offered him? We don't know any of this. Like, we have no idea. If it's like you said, I think if it's close to what the Chiefs have offered, he will be staying in Kansas City. I don't think, unless someone comes and pays him over maybe 16 to 17, or maybe, $2 or $3 million over what the Chiefs have offered, I don't think that he's going to leave. So last week when we did this Q&A, I think I was, 30 to 70 that he was going to be leaving. I'm leaning more 40 to 60. I think it's creeping back the other direction.
I tend to think that as well. And I don't know what the future holds, but that makes sense to me overall. Do you want to shout out Gooch, one of our contributors that you can see on the Huddle and in the Rogue Life for the member videos? He's also our biggest contributor. In fact, Gooch, as of tonight, I will rename it to the Elite Gooch level in the memberships because you are the man. Now, I am setting these up. We're going to keep answering your questions, but everybody give Gooch a shout out, will you? As well as Aaron Morrow and Stevie Keys, I think, will be in here as well. So, Brett, next question, Dan. Will you address Jordan Davis? And I'm going to stack us some more questions.
Oh, this is just kind of plays right into the little video that I just did on Jordan Davis. I think I'm going to leave most of it to the video, but I can tell you right now that if Jordan Davis is available at 30, unless there is a defensive end that they love, I think Jordan Davis makes far too much sense to pick. I don't think he's going to be there myself. I think he's going to go inside the top 20, probably inside the top 17. That's where I have him pegged. I don't see him getting past the Chargers at all. I'll tell you that right now. And I would love it if he did, because I think that he does everything that you really are wanting your defensive tackle to do. And I think he has pass rush upside in the NFL. And next to Chris Jones, he could teach him everything about using his hands properly. Does he have the conditioning level? I think he played closer to 360 at Georgia. So he did lose some weight. Can he continuously play at that weight? That's going to be the key for him, not only being what he is as a run stopper in the NFL, but having the ability to play more as a pass rush guy, because you still have to produce as a pass rush guy.
And if you watch his drills at the combine, folks, you'll see what I saw on tape is that his hand movement and hand fighting is not up to par for an interior pass rusher of the Chris Jones ilk. That's saying a lot. Chris is the second best interior defensive lineman in the pass rush. But that's what it comes down to. 2 downs is not enough if I'm selecting in the first round.
No.
So you have to have that. And I will not be surprised if they bring him in for one of their 30 on-site visits. Those are back this season. I think that's important because I agree with you. I think if he doesn't go in the 20, they need to look at him long and hard because he brings something that, as much as I like Derek Nottie cannot do. Derek Notty's not the athlete that Jordan Davis is, especially when you look at him versus Wyatt. It's crazy how dissimilar they are in Jordan's favor.
Right. It's pretty ridiculous.
Julian, how you doing?
What up, Julian? How you doing, man?
Glad you made it back. Great job last night. You had a ton of good points in the mock draft. I really enjoy doing those live, folks. We're going to keep that up whenever I can be home to do it. Brian Acker, thank you for your support. Appreciate you. Thoughts on signing Amari Cooper, J.C. Jackson, or Van Noy? It would only be one, and that would be you're shooting your wad for the offseason there with any of those contracts.
Yeah. Well, not Van Noy, because Van Noy's old and decrepit and just got released for the second time from Bill Belichick. So he's not worth much. So
fair enough. Yeah, I am thinking more Cooper and Jackson. I like Jackson. I don't think he's worth the market that he's going to get, but he is a plug-and-play outside corner that you can use. I think he can play in the nickel. I can't remember how many snaps he took in the nickel. They used him kind of all over. What's your preference for him?
I think outside makes the most sense, and for me, it allows you to be a little bit more liberal with who you're going to play in the slot, because I think you need to have L'Jarius Sneed as the boundary corner, your number one guy. Stop moving him around, but if you're going to do one or the other, pick one. He's your dude. He needs to be on the outside. Let him learn and grow as the outside corner. And if you want to bring J.C. Jackson in, then you have 2 guys that you can actually say are close to shutdown corners as it gets in the NFL. Yeah. That's going to not only help your safety group if you have to lose Tyrann Mathieu, it's going to help your linebackers. It's going to help. It's going to help everybody. Okay, it's going to help the pass rush get home.
I got a list of 6 dudes I'd draft to put in the nickel specifically. So I'm okay with that. I think that's the best scenario. So I'm with you. Now, Cooper, I think Cooper's lost a step. If he takes a contract, lower than Robinson, I'm okay with that. If he takes a contract, I mean, who's the next big free agent that you're thinking wide receiver wise?
Big Allen Robinson?
Not big in size. I just mean like the name.
Allen Robinson.
Besides him, that's what I'm saying. Who would be the next guy on your list?
Oh, I thought you were talking about DeMarcus for some reason. I don't even think Juju's like the next guy that everyone's linking to the Chiefs, and like the only other guy I could see coming, because we know that Godwin's not leaving. Like he's not going anywhere. I think that
I would put him at the top of the list if it were possible.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, he would be the number one dude. But Cooper is an interesting prospect. If you can find a way, maybe for a 1-year prove it deal with Amari Cooper, because he's had some struggles. You can find a way to maximize your year here, and then when the cap explodes, if he likes it in Kansas City, maybe you can find a way to sneak him under that. So I think a 1-year prove it deal, if you can maybe say we're going to win a Super Bowl, something Dallas can't do and Las Vegas can't do. Okay. Maybe you can lure him a little bit with a 1-year prove it deal, because he's has to prove it that he can still play at the highest level that he thinks he can play at.
I agree with you. I like it. Brian, great question. Thank you for that. Patrick, I got alarms going off and all kinds of stuff. The mock drafts GM have been great content. Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So
I'd like to see both of you do a mock together and get opinions. Yeah, that's what we're aiming to do. The next time if we can do it live, we will do that. If not, we'll pre-record some as well.
Yes, for sure.
Because again, remember everybody, if you're not here for the Sunday night breakdown, that is the mock draft during the offseason, right? Every different one is a different scenario, and that's what we're trying to do. That's what they're doing in the front office at One Arrowhead Drive. They do more mocks than any front office in the league, is my understanding. So I would not be surprised if you are in the front office and you happen to be watching this. I'm going to try to keep doing as many of the crazy scenarios as I can for you guys, because I know that they watch.
All the mock drafts.
Yeah. It's not just Daniel Jeremiah. I'm going to tell you guys that. Beach, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. Who is drafted first, Jordan Davis or Devontae Wyatt? I still think it's Wyatt.
I'm leaning towards Davis.
Are you?
Okay. I think teams, not just the 40, but the 10-yard split is so attractive.
Yeah.
That first step, that first 10, those first couple yards when your get off is that good, teams funnel to those athletic guys. They say, look, he's 341. He's already going to be an elite run defender. If we can squeeze out a little bit of juice, I think they might convince themselves that his ceiling is higher than Devontae Wyatt's. So that's why, I think that his specific need is a little bit higher than Wyatt's in terms of what people saw at the combine. And since he did kind of explode it, that typically does kind of tilt the levels here and there in terms of defensive tackle draft position and really everywhere.
Athleticism at the tackle spot is hard to find. And especially when you see Wyatt rip it up in the pass rush and then you see Jordan be more athletic, it's crazy. Rip Dillion. I know they're bigger in his draft, but I would love to have Travis Jones, the UConn DT. Yes, he also is very spry. Not up to the level of those two guys, but very good. If he falls to the late third or fourth, A. Jones middle would be awesome. I could definitely see him going in the third. He might go in the second.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem I think you're having with some of these guys that start to show out. This draft class isn't very good. So when guys start to separate themselves with athleticism, they're going to rise. Like Christian Watson, he's going to go mid-second round, if not early second round, because of his combine. That's what's going to happen. Like,
see, I don't know that gives him much of a bunch. He ran exactly what was expected of him, the numbers that have been floating around, right? Like, I don't know if that gives him a bump for the teams.
Confirmation, though. It's confirmation bias.
Right.
Like, you have this guy all the way up, and you say he's not utilized right at NDSU, but you see all the different ways they tried to utilize his skill set. He confirmed everything that you saw in flashes on tape at the combine, so you're just like, all in.
Yeah, I guess that could be. I think most of the teams just saw what they already expected and had that built into their rankings. But
I hope you're right about that. I really do.
I hope so too.
The
good teams did anyway.
Yeah, I can't stand. I still don't even know if I want to draft him at the late second yet. Like, I'm just not sure if I'm there.
I'm still got him in the third, right on the cusp.
Yeah.
I could be tricked or cajoled into 62. I can live with that.
I could.
If you're talking about 50s, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. There's a lot of work to be done still.
Yep.
He has all the tools to get there, but there's still a lot of work. Yep. Quinn, with Ridley gone, is it now a sure bet that it's either Juju or a draft pick? Ridley had no effect on the situation whatsoever. He was never in it. He's a non-factor, always was. Whether or not they trust Juju is going to be interesting, and a draft pick is most definitely in the picture. They will draft a wide receiver in this draft. It's just where. And it depends what they get done. If it's Juju and somebody else, if they get two, if they get two like mid-tier starters like Juju, and I don't call him a top-tier starter, but if they get two of them, they can round out the top four wide receivers. Do you think that they quit and don't go wide receiver in the draft is what I mean?
I think that they'll get somebody on day 3 regardless, no matter what, because I think that you're seeing, I mean, they took Cornell Powell last year. We haven't seen anything, haven't heard anything. We don't know if he's even going to be even in the practice squad next year. We don't know. We have no idea, especially if they go after two guys in free agency and then draft a guy in the 5th round. That tells you a little bit of something. And I know that I got everyone's hopes up, and I apologize for that. Sometimes we all get taken with players, and I still love Cornell Powell. And it's going to happen again this year. I can promise you that right now. It's going to happen again. But I think that you're just seeing the way that wide receiver is. You got to hit on somebody. You got to throw darts at it until it works. And I think that's what they're going to continue to do.
Everybody has their crushes, man. I had Trayvon Diggs. Oh, and I was right. Thank you, Cowboys.
No, you were kind of maybe half right. He's like
sort of right. We'll go with that's fine.
Like the upside, like the ultimate. He can get the ball away, but everything else is really bad.
Oh, what do you do that for? Yeah, exactly. Philip, how does one evaluate if a coach is good? I hear people say good coaches are good or bad all the time, but I have no idea how to tell. Here's what you can tell. Bottom line, at the end of the day, it takes a little while to figure it out. But if you have players that are acquired, whether through the draft or free agency, that have this level of play from wherever they were before, and they come into a program and they play at this level, that's a good coach. If they do this or they stay right here, that's not a good coach or a good staff. And sometimes it is on the position coaches, not just, the head coaches or the coordinators. You have more input there?
I'm not qualified enough to tell you what makes a good coach and a bad coach. I can just tell you that when I see a team, the way that a coach reacts with their players specifically, I think that not just being a player's coach, but the way you handle yourself on the sidelines during games. And I think player evaluation is one of those things. If you can get the best out of your players, if you can definitively say that when you watch the tape, that's one thing, but it's not always that easy.
Dustin, yeah, now that Ridley's, like I said, Ridley was never in the picture. There's no trade brewing. They're not trading for a wide receiver. Cole Beasley is never going to be a Chief. I guarantee you that.
Please no.
That guy is all me, no team. He's out. I don't think they're going to trade for anyone. They will hit the free agent market and they'll hit the draft. There's no reason to trade for a wide receiver. Tyrann won't be back for less. He'll put it out if he was forced out to anyway. Yeah, he may get sour. You never know. The guy walks on a razor's edge. When he's with you, he's with you. When he's not, it might get a little crusty. I don't know. Jaden, see all these free agent predictions. Why is none of them have the Chiefs getting any big name receivers? Because nobody who puts out those predictions wants the Chiefs to get a receiver. And if you're looking, yes, exactly what Dan's saying. If you're looking around Chiefs Kingdom, there's not a whole lot of money to go around. So that's why none of us are saying, go get this guy.
Yeah, the Chiefs have to make moves to make money. Like that's what they don't look further than what they have projected, what they have on the books now. So when you see these big marketplaces and things that are talking about who has the most money to spend and where players could go in free agency, it's all about who has the most money. You're going to see Jacksonville, bad teams that have a lot of money to spend are going to be talked about a lot, or teams that have a lot of money coming off the books. And it just so happens the Chiefs have to make moves to make money come off the books. It's just not set in stone for them.
Yeah. It is what it is. And yeah, Nate's right, Tyler. They don't have enough money to go around here. When they get past some of these bad contracts in Hitch and Clark and et cetera, they're going to have more space to maneuver next season. And so, yes, I think that they will do that. It's just a dollars and cents thing. They don't have the room. Jason, who are you guys thinking had a good combine, and who were you surprised by? Zion McCollum had the best performance of a DB. Jordan Davis had the best performance of a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Other guys that stood out to you?
There's a Calvin Austin. Just the overall athlete, like he's a small guy. Like there's legitimate concerns about his height and his weight. It's like 5'8", 170 pounds. That's not ideal for a wide receiver position. But the athleticism is there. Like
if you could keep him from getting hit, it'd be fine.
Like this isn't McCole Hardman or Tutu Atwell we're talking about. Like Tutu never should have been selected. Like let's just be honest about that. Dude never should have been picked in the second round. But he has the requisite athleticism, speed, the quickness to actually get open in the NFL. Size,
put it this way, guys. He's shorter, thinner, and lighter than Dat. If that tells you, it's not robust. That's the big one. I will say this: Channing Tindall impressed me. He outperformed Chad Muma in the combine. He will likely, and I haven't finished the calculations for the linebackers yet. I will have the athletic matrix ready here in another week or two. I'll work on the graphics and get those out for you guys. That comes out. This is the way the offseason goes. Combine comes out. You get the initial release of the athletic matrix. Then we start working on the draft guide. We're adding film grades this year. So you guys are going to get more in the draft guide. And then I'll update as the pro days come out on the athletic matrix as well. But right now, Channing Tindall beat Chad Muma for the best score. And if I calculated, if my glance, if it calculates out the way that I expect it, he's going to be right up there, Channing Tindall with Willie Gay. The difference is Tindall is more explosive in a straight line and not as athletic in change of direction as Willie.
Yeah, Leo Chanel also had a nice combine.
Yes,
he had a very good showing. There's going to be some athletic linebackers on day 2, and like safety and linebacker are going to be 2 areas on day 2 you can hit, and I think you can hit big on both of those positions on day 2. So that it's a nice year to have 3 picks on day 2. So hopefully the Chiefs going to get a couple of picks out of that.
Yeah, could be. Who would be the best player available on your boards at 30 that would make you want KC to trade out of the first?
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It's really quick.
I mean, because honestly, if it's any of the premier positions at defensive end, corner, or wide receiver, they got to just take it. If all those are empty, what do you got?
I don't think they're going to take a corner in the first round. Period.
Maybe
I think that they've shown.
Yeah.
I think they've shown 4th round, 6th round, undrafted free agent. I don't see him doing it.
Every time I've said that, though, they go and they do that. Like the next.
That's why I'm saying it. That's why I'm saying it. I'm saying it as often as I can. So hopefully they reverse course. But I mean, so let's see. If the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if the top 6 receivers are gone, if the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 edges are gone, probably okay to trade out. But that's a lot. But even then, maybe if Daxton Hill's there,
right?
Like I'm probably gonna want them to take Daxton Hill. But that doesn't mean they're going to. So there's also some linebackers. I don't think that Lloyd or Dean are going to fall to them necessarily.
And I know you guys are going to say, but we saw that happen in the mock draft last night. Some of the mock machines are dropping those guys down by positional value because of the combine. I don't think that's accurate. I think they still go top 20, both of them.
So it's tough. It's tough to get me to want them to trade out.
Yeah, fair enough. Jaden, I'm glad you like Sterling Holmes. I don't know him personally, but I'll see you and raise you one more. Matt Connor, the guy who runs Arrowhead Addict, is going to come on at some point when we can get that scheduled. So you'll see the boss man over there, and that's always a good time. Matt and I go a long ways back. Aaron, the Petrie seems pretty small. Do you know his dimensions? I can pull him up unless you got him right in front of you, Dan.
I don't have them right in front of me, but I'm really close.
Okay. I'll race you. Yeah, he's 5'11", even 198.
And he plays kind of like a linebacker too. Like they asked him at Baylor to play a ton of different positions, and even at that size, he doesn't play to that size. He legitimately plays like he could be a box type of linebacker safety hybrid with his size, which is
I'm gonna say it.
It's unreal.
I'm gonna say it. He could be Sorensen.
He could be better than Sorensen.
and here's the thing. I think somebody has this. We'll get to it. I think it's already in the stack of questions here, you guys. There is no one that is a replacement for Tyrann Mathieu. But there are a couple of guys here that if you paired them together could do a very good job of covering all the bases. There's a reason Tyrann's an all-pro, because you can't find all those skills in one body very often. It's just a super tall order. Gary, welcome back. OG around here. I do see the Chiefs drafting defensive ends and safeties in the first and second rounds. I think they'll both be positions of value. They're both pretty deep. I will say that I think the safeties fall off by probably, if not the top 100, definitely after the 4th round at 120. There's nothing left there. I think you're shooting blanks at that point. So I could see that, Gary. Gary had another one's who Mahomes likes as a free agency receiver this year. I have absolutely no idea who he likes. I think he would like a guy to be in the right place. I don't really think he cares where it is. So, Jaden, thank you. I'll start off with a weird question. Do you think that Kansas City should have an NBA team again? And who's more likely to be a Chief, Robinson or Godwin? Like we said earlier, it's going to be Godwin, and I couldn't care less if NBA's in town. Rock, chalk, Jayhawks. That's all you need, bro. Watch the Jayhawks. All will be well.
Kansas City should get an NHL team before an NBA team, and it's not even close.
I used to go to the Blades games when the IHL was in town in Kansas City. That was always a lot of fun. I think hockey could
So
do
much
well
fun.
in KC.
It should. It's a Midwest like thing. There's ice everywhere, man.
So I shout out Gooch earlier, and now I must have missed it because I just saw his name and grabbed his question. It was not trashing Bo Pete. It was just saying that as good as Bo Pete was, who almost made the 53, and I think actually should have. If you guys remember my 53 prediction, I think Zion McCollum's better by not an insignificant amount. So that not trashing anybody there, Brian. Ooh, I even used your first name. Julian, how are you? Watching some highlights of Chris Olave. Would you take him as your ex? I think he can survive there, but I don't want him there.
So the thing about Olave is if you think transitioning to the NFL, if he can take a bit of physicality, okay? That's the only thing. Now, he has the hand usage in college that translates to the NFL. He doesn't have the yak stuff on tape. Doesn't mean he can't do it, okay? There's a lot of Brian Hartline came out about a week ago, said they don't teach necessarily the ball skill stuff. It's more about creating separation at Ohio State. And if you watch their receivers, they're all about creating separation.
Yep.
Everybody's open all the time. They're just open. So Olave has everything you're looking for as an ex-player, the creating separation. The only thing is the physicality, and can you really block as an ex-receiver? There's a reason that Byron Pringle overtook Demarcus Robinson as the X, because he's a phenomenal blocker, a really good run blocker. And Olave is not. He can't do it in college. He's not going to be able to do it in the NFL.
I agree. Like I said, I think he could survive as a pass catcher. You're definitely right. He can't block out there. But I will say this too. That sounds very much like the description of Tyreek Hill coming in. He can create separation, but he doesn't have the physicality. Part of that is route running as well, and Olave has him there in spades.
Oh, he's the best route runner in this class. There's no question in my mind. But the thing about Tyreek is that he has the physique to put weight on. He's a muscle hamster type of guy. Olave is not.
Yeah, that's true. He is who he is, and he'll always be that way. He reminds me of Marvin Harrison in body type.
For sure.
Okay. Bradley, do you think the Chiefs re-sign most of their own guys and do the draft and call it good? No, they need new blood in multiple positions. On the edge, at the wide receiver, probably in the secondary once or twice. So, no, they definitely need new blood. Mr. Gooch, he's back, and thank you again, Gooch.
Gooch.
And it looks like Super Chat still works. I'm glad that you're testing the system, my friend, and I'm glad you're doing well. Most likely free agent wide receiver right now, if you just put your money on it. Not like Ridley.
Crowder.
Really? Okay. That is super interesting. I'm going to go Juju.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense too, but these are two guys that can play the majority of their snaps in the slot. Create separation on third down. I think you can have Juju on the outside, but I think both, ideally, you'd want to have them in the slot just being open all the time.
Yeah. Although, like you were just saying about Tyreek, I think Juju does have the frame where he can survive the physicality out there if you need to.
Yeah, Juju makes the most sense because I think he can actually play, like legit play on the outside. He did it in Pittsburgh, and I think he could do it in Kansas City too. So
there's some DC3 receivers I think could come in and play the X pretty well as well. Like I even like Tay Martin, and nobody seems to like Tay, but I do. So hey, I'm gonna tell you guys Tay Martin. Free agent tight end, right? Free agent tight end class is deep this year. Do we address it this way? The guy that I was hoping they weren't going to screw around with it, they went and tagged Njoku because I would like to see him and Travis run duels. But I have not looked at the rest of the tight end free agent list. Have you?
No, and honestly, I don't think they're going to do anything. They've already got Gray. They're going to bring Jody back, and I think they're going to be set. And maybe they find a way to get a blocking tight end in, but I think they're comfortable. They should be comfortable. I think.
I don't know. I'm not comfortable with Noah Gray. I'm disappointed in the progression. I'm not sure that he's going to latch on. So I think they do need to probably draft a guy on day 3. I think that's the best place to get somebody that could be that insurance policy. Eric Schneider, thank you very much. We appreciate your support. Gooch, time to get back to work. Appreciate you. I'm working on it. We're trying.
Thanks for popping in.
Right. Eric, welcome back to the memberships. Glad you've returned. I'm always happy to see that. Rogues and Modfather. I think my partner is in here as well. Hello, boys and girls. Good. I'm glad Stevie made it back as well. Gooch, you are a man amongst boys. If you missed it before, because now I see your comments, we're renaming the elite level of the memberships.
Boom.
Elite Gooches. That's it.
Elite.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to make it fun. It is all yours, my friend, and I thank you. Reggie, welcome to the memberships. Glad you're here as well. Make sure you hit me up for the Discord stuff if you hit the rookie level and that's what you're into. Cool. Dee Garofalo just mentioned that, Garofalo. I can never say that right. I have Janine in my head for some reason. That OBJ, Orlando Brown Jr., won't sign the franchise tag until he decides whether he wants to represent himself or hire an agent. I didn't know that he'd fired his agent.
I didn't know that either.
And after a charity event in March, does this affect anything? No, it doesn't. He doesn't need to sign anything until the day before camp. Then he has to sign it, be under the contract so that he's like covered by their insurance, all that stuff. He can sign anytime up until then, but he won't participate. So I hope that he does sign it rather quickly, or they get a deal done, because I think this transition, this offseason is what gives him the best chance to actually become the full tackle that he thinks he can be. I think he needs this work with this team this offseason.
For sure, definitely. And I think that we saw Mahomes get comfortable, at least for the most part, with him down the stretch. So you just got to keep working on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Take this one. I'm going to stack some up. I think this is Julian. Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Julian. So thoughts on Cam Thomas and Arnold Ebiketie as your edge rushers long term? I'm going to be upfront with you. I've only seen one game of Ebiketie, and I watched it last week, and I was thoroughly unimpressed. And obviously there's more work to do on him, but I see a lot of 2-point stance in this draft, and I'm not a fan of it. And it makes me a little worried about some players, and I haven't seen any Cam Thomas yet. So I know that you're much higher on him out of San Diego State than some people, I think. But again, good athletic numbers, and I think that Ebiketie also had some good athletic numbers as well from the combine. But thoroughly unimpressed with his game that I watched again. Just one game, so we don't want to take too much out of context. So, but
I've watched a few. He's streaky. That's my problem. But it's also because he's undersized. He's not quite long enough. He's not quite tall enough. He is a 3-4 outside linebacker.
Yeah,
and I agree with you.
That's exactly why.
Yeah, but so is Nick Bonito. And quite frankly, now that my Jay lost 20 pounds, I have a hard time saying that he's ready to be a DN. Unless I did hear one report that he got some kind of illness.
Sick. He's been sick for they said about a week, almost a week coming up to the combine, something like that. So
still 20 pounds in a week, that's a lot.
He had what I think happened is he was trying to bump up his numbers in the 40 and the burst areas. So he was probably already losing a little bit of weight to try to trim up for that. And then he got sick, and then it was just too much. I think that's what happened. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but
from a source at the Senior Bowl, it's my understanding that he is one of those guys that has a high metabolism. He's always like overeating to maintain his weight. So if he has any kind of hiccup in his schedule, he just drops like a rock.
Good Lord.
But I will say this. Benito's a 3-4 OLB. So is Ebiketie. Honestly, D'Angelo is. Malone from Western Kentucky. Robinson from Miami, Ohio is. There's a bunch of them, but they're good. And here's the thing. If you draft one of those guys and you sign either an elder statesman or another draft pick, if you double dip at edge and one of those guys is like a power guy, you shift him inside of the 3 tech on passing downs and you bring in the speed rusher on the outside. This combination, actually, Julian, is one of the things that I had in my head. If you bring in Cam Thomas and he's your first and second down edge and you move him into 3 tech on 3rd down and bring Arnold in, that's how you crush an entire side of an offensive line.
I just want to see what Malik Herring can do, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I do too, but we got
nothing. Like there's 2 guys that they brought in last year that I want to see progress. And unfortunately, one got hurt and the other one was recovering from an injury. So we got nothing.
I agree. Great questions, Julian. Keep them coming. I think you're an Evachetti guy if I'm reading the room.
Sounds
right,
like it.
You let me know. Patrick, could you see Veach doing a trade for Saquon or Bradbury? Neither. Neither of them are worth anything in a trade that they would. The Giants are going to steal something.
Well, the Saquon's not going anywhere. Okay. The only way they're moving him is if someone says, hey, you want a first-round draft pick? And no one's going to offer you a first-round draft pick or Saquon Barkley. And Bradbury is going to be a cap casualty. I can almost guarantee you, he's going to be cut. So
see,
if
now
you're
as a cut, I'm more than happy to bring you in and give you a run through. That's a whole different animal. I just will not give up draft capital for either of those players. And honestly, anybody who's on a rookie contract and they're trying to trade, I ain't interested. Chiefs Enjoyer, pretty much a no-go at this point. No, I don't believe that, but I don't think, here's the thing is he played inside. He played in a 3-man front a lot, playing a 5 technique or a shaded 6 really. Mm-hmm. He also played a 4-eye inside the B gap as well, and he held his own. He has the strength. His functional strength is better than a lot in this draft class. And even if he gets his weight back up to 240, I'm fine. If he stays at 228, and I think if that's the case and he's trying to be fast, he's trying to be the outside linebacker type, trying to mold himself maybe after Brian Burns, who was pretty light I think it was 236 at the combine. Then more power to him. If he's just going to cut half the teams in the league out and just wants to play in a 3-4, then I have to say, okay, Majay, go do your thing. Like he's one of my favorite players in terms of upside. I think he has a ceiling that he could really crush, but he's not a no-go at this point. Josh Fan, welcome back, folks. Check out Josh's channel as well. What's the likelihood the Chiefs draft and sign a notable receiver, and what combinations do you guys like, if so? I think that's the plan. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that is too. We kind of just touched on it a little while ago. Honestly, I don't know if it's even going to happen, but I still want the Chiefs to draft a receiver in round 1 if it's possible. Like some of these guys, they're just going to be too good to pass up on, in my opinion. But you're going to have some second-round players. Like, for example, I think that Watson's going to be somebody that probably falls down that way. I think Calvin Austin's going to be somebody that probably flies up into the second round. And so is, where is he? Sky Moore as well.
I'm not
some of these guys. No, I'm not either. Like I'm not touching Austin because of his frame.
Yeah.
If it was third
Sky
round,
Moore, though, that's a whole different animal.
Sky Moore is built. Like he's built. So I can definitely see that. But Jahan Dotson is somebody that's probably going to draw some interest.
It's one of my
He's small
favorites.
too. But again, Pickens.
He is.
George Pickens, come on down. I know that you're not a huge fan because of the injury stuff, but I'm
cautious because of the injury. I thought he didn't perform at the combine. I was not impressed with his outing.
I think he's still getting back from his injury. I don't think he's all the way back. So I think he was trying to show everybody like he's got confidence in himself, but his body's not all the way back yet. But and I think that's what happened. But I'm still a huge George Pickens guy myself, and I think that you pair someone like Pickens with a Juju Smith-Schuster in the offseason or that type of receiver in the draft. I think you come out on top.
Yeah, that's not a bad process at all. I'm with you there. Bert, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Is there a Matthew type in this draft? Like I said before, there's not one. There's a couple of guys you could do in combination. Like I would say Petrie is probably the closest from the robber down, and I would say Hill is probably him from the robber up. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right about that. I think that the slot versatility is more of what Daxton brings to that table. Like if you could just say, just take Petrie and take Hill and say, hey guys, could you just find a way to like mesh your bodies together? You would have a type of Tyrann Mathieu. But like Ryan said earlier, that's why he's an all-pro. They don't come around very often. They don't make him like Tyrann Mathieu very much.
As soon as I become a GM, I'll get cloning technology. That's what I'll be doing. Yes, that's what we'll do. Mr. Green Beans, thank you and welcome back. Appreciate the support. We do need to build and retain our own talent. I think they have to bring back Noddy. I think that's an imperative. I think they should bring back Ward if they can afford it. I worry someone will give Ward a big contract. I can't give him a big contract.
What's big to you?
What do you got?
No, I'm saying what's a big contract
Not
for him to you?
9+
That's exactly where
annual,
I'm at.
9+.
I literally was just talking on the radio today about it. Like, I think the Chiefs are like, go ahead,
Oh,
test
yeah?
free agency. Because I think they offered him a max of 7. I think a max of 7, 8 is what they've offered him. If he thinks that he can get double digits somewhere, they're probably like, go ahead. See, I think you're
more power to you, bro.
Yeah, more power. And you'll come back when the offers aren't there.
Yeah.
So that's what
that's kind of how I feel too. Here, take the next one. I'm going to look at the free agent list and
all right, sounds good.
Del, I agree with you. They need to keep their talent. I just want to look at everybody else and we'll give you a rundown. But definitely, I think Nadi needs to come back.
Yeah, I agree. What's up, Jason? Thanks for the question. What is your position and what order of the priority for this team they need to draft for? So I think defensive end, especially with the release of Frank Clark, is going to be a huge. I think they have to. We don't know if they're going to bring back Melvin Ingram. We assume they're going to try. But again, if you don't, guess who your starting number 1 defensive end is next year? Just guess. Like, it's not good, guys. There's not much there.
It's not.
So, hi, Avery.
I don't have one.
Oh, that's a light.
I agree.
But yeah, so I think defensive end and
so
depending on Matthew, safety is probably up there.
Hi.
Good job, Avery.
Hi. So here's the list. Here's some young talent. Nadi is one of them. Baker is he's a exclusive rights, but I think you have to bring Baker back. I would be tempted to bring back Marcus Kemp, but I think you can upgrade. You got to bring back Derek Gore and Jody Fortson, but they're again both exclusive rights free agents.
Bye.
Bye. Other young guys on this roster that I think I bring back Darryl, but I like Darryl maybe more than most. I would still do that. I bring back Pringle, although I wouldn't call him young. He's going to be 29.
Yeah, I was about to say
I would actually bring back Hughes.
Okay.
I think you can have Hughes for $2 million a year.
Yeah, I don't hate it. He's a guy that, I mean, he had a 2-game stretch where he played well. I think that's all you got out of him. But again, if it's going to be a replacement level player and just a depth guy, yeah, I don't have any issues with that. Pringle, I think, is going to come back. I don't think anyone's going to throw money at him. I think Wiley's going to come back. I don't think anyone's going to throw money at him. So
I'm with you there. That all makes sense to me. Let's see. Hey, Big Chief Sean's in the house. Everybody say hi to Sean. I like it. You can see him on some of the recent Rokehead huddles as well. I like seeing all those guys together. That's always fun. Oh, wait a minute. I missed it. Najee, why can't we have Dax Hill and Tyrann? You can. It's just whether Tyrann's market is low enough that he decides to come back. And I do think it's a distinct possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Flapjack. I heard Brad Feach was talking about George Pickens. Yep. Again, because of the performance of the combine, because of the injury, I think he's going to fall. I don't think he's a top 64 pick. So you get him with one of those thirds, that's value.
Profit.
Yeah, right.
Just profit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And they have not been very bashful about taking players with some significant injuries in the past. So I don't know why they do it now. Given the play he made in the championship game. It was just one play.
It was one play, but
giant play.
It was so good. His release packages are still there, by the way.
Yeah, and that part has not gone anywhere. And hopefully a year removed, he should be that much more better. Initial in the route, like the stem still has me a bit concerned. But Gooch has an adaptation for that. Is just go get Jameson Williams and come back with Christian Harris. If Jameson's there, I'd have no problem with that.
You pull that trigger. Jameson is there at 30. You pull it.
Yeah,
you run.
I mean, let's think about this. Board the train in Japan. It's a bullet train to begin with. Crawl up on the top, get a freaking 50 cal sniper rifle and fire that, and now you have Jameson Williams.
Now we're.
I mean, the muzzle velocity alone of Jameson Williams just makes me cry. Yeah, right. And I like Christian Harris too. I don't have him as a second round value, though. I will tell you that, Gooch. I have him in the third right now. Only because I didn't see it consistently enough. He had a good couple of games in the playoffs. Obviously, the championship game, he played his butt off. But there were lapses in that last season that I didn't care for at times. So third, I'm perfectly happy with. So there. And thank you for the support, as always, Gooch. Adam, thank you. Hope you're doing well in Canada. Been a while. Glad that you're back. That's all that matters. Sorry if this was asked, but would you go for Marcus Williams from New Orleans if he were available in free agency? Yes, and from what I understand from my people in New Orleans, he's not going to get tagged. We'll see if that comes true. But right now, they're leaning towards it's not going to happen. I would definitely look into him, but how do you feel like him as a player versus, say, May?
I think he's just going to be too expensive. I think that's kind of the point here is we're talking about a guy who's going to want to be the top paid safety in the NFL. I get he's younger, but can you afford that? Probably not.
Yeah. That's the big question. Like I would definitely kick the tires though and see what that market looks like. Aaron Etheridge, you make me laugh. I am not going to go through everything we've already talked about, but I'm glad you made it, dude.
What's going on?
But also, like you could go the cheaper direction, like Jabril Peppers. You could try to get May, who I think will be somewhere in between them. I don't know who else is going to be available. I mean, honestly, I'm going to do a piece on the nickel corners. They're going to be Byron Jones might be available, folks. Kyle Fuller might be available. Those are upgrades at the corner positions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just upgrade, get improvement. Yes, I think Bert, we both like Sky Moore in this Chiefs offense.
Yes.
Where would you line him up to start? Like, given that you don't want to give him the full playbook year one.
You know, a lot of people will say the slot, but I think Tyreek does most of his best work in the slot. So I don't want to take too much away from that. Maybe you try to work him at the Z, still off of a little bit, not at the line of scrimmage. You can really try to kind of interchange Tyreek and Sky in the slot and the Z, and gives you a lot of flexibility in your offense still.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just keep him off the line of scrimmage so he can't get jammed to all gone. Try not to cuss here tonight. Julian, the secondary of Kadri Diggs, J.C. Jackson, Snead, Thornhill. Thoughts? I think that's pretty good. I'm probably lower on Diggs than some. Isn't Diggs the guy that got arrested with Baker too? Let's not put them on the same roster if that's the case. Am I wrong?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I don't remember. Look it up.
Okay. But no, I mean, Diggs is solid. I have no problem with that. I think there's probably a little bit more fit out there. But yeah, I mean, the question's paying for it, to tell you the truth, Julian. If they come into a larger chunk of money, maybe that's an option. Maybe it'd probably have to be a post Frank cut thing though, like after the first
probably
problem.
I think that was Dunbar. So I think that was Dunbar that got arrested.
Oh, was it Dunbar? Okay. Even better. Then that's perfectly fine. I'm not worried about that. Canadian Chief, with Nagy being here, would it help or hurt Robinson thinking of coming here? I don't think that it matters. I mean, maybe there's some animosity there. From what I heard, it was more about the offense situation, not necessarily a one-on-one with the coach.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think you're right about that.
Okay.
I think I'm a little bit behind.
Here, take Gooch's. I'm going to check on. Yeah, I am behind. So see what Gooch had to say, and I'll grab some more.
All right, Gooch. I have a weird feeling Frank restructures and stays. Honey Badger finds out safety over 30. Besides, Charles Woodson don't get huge contracts and come back. We draft safety in the third. I don't think Frank's coming back. I don't think the Chiefs want anything to do with that. And if they do, then they haven't learned their lesson, even if you're paying him less money. I do think that there's a better chance now than there was last week. The Honey Badger stays in Kansas City. So I'm really hoping. I'm trying not to get my hopes too high that he comes back, but I'm pretty optimistic, much more so than I was last week.
All right, folks. I didn't realize we were an hour already, so we're going to skip around here. We're going to hit the highlights. And honestly, I'm going to take out all the things that we probably already addressed here. Not to miss anybody, but like Aaron Lee, I think we addressed that. I think it's going to be a quiet first day of free agency. Hardman, Hill, Robinson, Mechie, and Pringle. Yeah, that works for me. I think there's going to be delay on Mechie, though, Julian. Did McKenna get a contract? No, he has not. Mahomes wants a vet receiver. Yes. He stated that a couple of times. Thought drafting Hill and signing Jackson. Yeah, I mean,
it'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be great. If they can afford the JC, that's going to be the clinch. I think they have a shot at Daxton. Which rounds beside the 7th do we have multiple picks? Just the 3rd. For those QB needed teams, what do you want to trade up into the how far would you trade back? What's your threshold?
37.
37. Okay.
I think 37 is about
it's right about where I am too. Like I might be able to stretch to 40 depending on what I'm seeing in the low 20s. Brisker reminds me of Malcolm Jennings. That's not a bad comparison at all. I haven't done more than I don't think I've seen him but twice, to tell you the truth, so far. So I have work to do there. Have you watched Brisker yet?
I have not. I have not watched Brisker yet.
604. How much better do you have Daxton Hill over Brisker? 3 spots, I think. I have Hill number 2 behind Hamilton.
Yeah, I do too. I think those two are going to go first round.
Cam Thomas and then Drake, as in Drake Jackson.
Drake Jackson, yeah.
As in double dipping. I think Drake Jackson's a 3rd round pick. He doesn't really know what he's doing yet. He's got great length and he can be explosive, but he's terribly inconsistent. And I don't think they coached him very well because he doesn't seem very aware of what's coming at him.
Yeah, so that's one of the things on his tape is that he's got the tools. Like let's be clear. He's another one of those guys that's athletic. He has the tools, he's got the length, but he doesn't look like he was developed. And that happens in some of these Pac-12 schools and things like that, where they really value offensive play. And I just feel like some of these guys get there and they go to USC, big name places, and then they just don't get developed properly.
In fact, if I look at my sheet on him, I've done most of my eval on him. I think what I put was the only jump I saw from 20 to 21 was functional strength. And that's just a function of lifting and growing a year older and physically maturing. So, but if you're talking about Drake London won't be there in the second, just for anybody who's saying he didn't mean Jackson, because I could do that wrong. Bartimus, what are the free agent safeties available? Williams, May.
Yeah, I did a whole video on the free agent safety market a little while back, probably a month ago now at this point. So
was it?
Yeah, there's I think Diggs is another one too, like a small, low level $6-7 million contract type of guys. So, but yeah, it's not too bad actually. It's a pretty good safety market.
Yeah. Holly, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Rock Chalk. The Texas was exciting. They're all exciting for me because I don't get to watch them all. So when I do, I'm very happy. They've been cutting it a little close for me though. So I'm glad you watched a Chiefs themed bar called Tunes.
That's awesome.
In Chicago. That's good to know. I have people in Chicago, so I will check that out. I am there fairly often. So thank you, Miss Holly. And good job keeping up the avatar. Hope you're doing well, and we appreciate your support as always. Jerry, thank you for the support. Hope all is well. Say Devontae Adams is released. What would we throw at him to get him in town? He got the franchise tag. He will not be released, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think they would mortgage quite a bit in order to pair him with Tyreek for even 2 years. I mean, that's nearly indefensible.
It's not nearly, it is, especially when you add Travis Kelce to the mix. There is no defense in the NFL that could stop it.
No, I mean, to the point where I think they would sacrifice moves on the defensive side. It would be all draft on defense, and you would put all your money into Devontae, and you would run away from that deal happy as a clam. Yeah. I certainly would. So, in fact, I did a ranking last year. Devontae and Nuke Hopkins were the only receivers that I put above Tyreek. So there's very, very little room for you to upgrade your wide receiver core, and that's one of them. So, Jerry, thank you for the support.
Thank you, Jerry.
We appreciate you, as well as everyone who's supported us tonight. Skymore body type is Cheetah 2.0. He's got what, an inch and a half on him too, right?
Yeah, so I think so.
Like, good size,
stacked.
Yes, Super Devil Juice. We are not just comfortable. We're happy with that. I'm a big Jordan Whitehead fan. Also, Carlton Davis, if available, I think you should take a look. Great press man corner. He's good. I wouldn't say great. I've never been high on Davis, and I think his play against the Chiefs certainly highlighted that. But he does seem to play better against other teams.
Yeah, so, for sure.
And I'm with you on Jordan Whitehead. I'm down with that. Dan, I hope you can be there for live mock drives. Yes, we will have a good time, Doug. We hope you're there for that. And again, folks, the live mock drafts are on the Sunday nights on the breakdown. If I have like a sports event for my kids who are both competing in the spring here, sometimes we pre-record them, but maybe we can even do that together, Dan.
Definitely.
See how we can work it out. Hydra. I say we just have 11 clones of Willie Gay on defense and see what happens. I'm with you.
Yeah.
If you give me 10 Mike Burtons and Patrick Mahomes and 11 Willie Gays, I can put a team on the field. Which, by the way, I think we're going to get Mike back, you guys. I think the Chiefs will too, but I think we'll get Mike back on the channel as well. Steve, why do college players look so much faster in games than NFL players? I know the NFL players are fast, but the college game speed looks faster because most of the DBs are not up to par speed-wise, and the game just looks like you're eating up space. I think the advantage at the college level is much greater than NFL.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, I agree with you there.
Okay. Stack, thank you for the support. Appreciate you as always. Alyssa, how do you feel about drafting Jordan Davis? So you must have come late because we kind of went off about Jordan earlier. I think we'd both be happy. I don't think either of us think it happens though, right?
Yeah, I would be pretty happy if it happened at 30. I don't see it happening. I think he's going to be gone before that.
And I like the guy. I do like his partner in crime a little bit more because I want the pure pass rush. I'd rather have to teach a guy to anchor well and play the run better than have to teach pass rush. That's my personal opinion.
I get it.
Philosophy. Lego, should the Chiefs trade? Should have kept D-Train Darwin Thompson. Now he's the Seahawks. In my personal opinion, it seems like RB gets better after they leave. Yeah, I mean,
he hasn't played.
Darwin's not impressive anywhere, but there are such a thing as fits. That's certainly true. And when you're running 60% of the carries out of the shotgun, that certainly is a problem for a lot of guys. So it does take somebody unique to be in this offense and be, productive. What are your ideal bookends at DE? Like in terms of type, yes, I would like one power and one speed as the starters. And I'd like to have like a situational pass rusher as the third that can come in that is speed oriented and put that starting power guy inside next to Chris Jones. That's what I'd do.
Yeah, I like that. I think you can cause a lot of havoc with that kind of that lineup. And there's just not enough athleticism. I need more athletes at defensive end on this team. I need it. I need it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they used to be more athlete based, like athleticism based on defense. They got away from that a little bit. And they found it in their later picks in Willie and L'Jarius. And other than that, they've kind of gone away. Yeah. So they've leaned on the experience of veterans. That's what they do. Do you think the Chiefs kick the tires on DeMarcus Lawrence and draft a 3-4 OLB as a pass rush specialist, or is he out of the price range? I think he's going to be dramatically out of the price range.
Yeah, he's going to be upwards of $20 million a year, and we all know how that works out.
I mean, the team that had him is releasing him because of price range. So, Julian, D. Hill, then Drake Jackson on the edge, then Mechie in the third, then Tariq Woolen in the third, Damon Clark. Thoughts on those first four picks? That works. It's a little high for Drake. It might be a little low for Mechie. Switch those, and I think you're fine. I think you would have to switch Tariq Woolen and Damon Clark as well. I think Damon goes day 2. I
think you're right about that, and you're betting on the traits with Jackson. So I don't have any issues with that. But I think Daxton Hill's going to be a home run hitter in the first round. I think that he's going to be pretty much scheme proof in the NFL. So
yeah, I know people say that it's pronounced Damone. The only guy I know that is a huge LSU fan says Damon, so that I keep going back and forth on that. Don't crucify me for this, guys. I swear. I'm terrible with names as it begins with. So, Devil Juice, did Chad Muma do enough to get into the second round, or do we still have a chance to draft him? I think he's right there on the edge. I don't think he'll be there at 92 unless something else happens, like a lot of players jump him. Mm-hmm. He had a very good combine for a guy at 240 and 6'3". He would be the biggest linebacker the Chiefs have. But his change of direction was good. His flat out speed was not what I expected. I expected him in the 4.5s. He ran 4.63.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed with that. So maybe that does keep him down there, Super Juice.
Let's hope so.
I hope so, because he's a converted safety that is still growing into his body a little bit. I think he definitely has the coverage skills. He kept Trey McBride to like one catch for 5 yards. when
pretty
that's
good.
all they had at CSU was Trey McBride. So that tells you. Enjoyer, if you were Chiefs, would you sign Juju? How long of a deal would it be? I'd give him 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. He's coming off that injury. You saw him play in the playoffs, so you know he can play. I think you're betting he can improve from year 1 to year 2 in the offense, so that makes a lot of sense.
Big Chief Sean, who should I look for at LB, DL, and OL? Luckily, there's a lot of them.
A lot.
I mean, Lloyd Indeed will be your first. Tyndall, Clark, Muma. I think Troy Anderson will be like a third, maybe a fourth rounder. Intriguing, like coverage guy. There's the kid from PSU that I always forget, the Penn Stater, Brandon, who I think is down there in day 2, like lower, probably a third rounder. He'll be there. D-line, everybody with Georgia behind their name. Winfrey is not a first rounder to me. I keep seeing him go in first round mocks.
It's just the Senior Bowl stuff. Like that's the only reason he's even up there is because he dominated the Senior Bowl. That's it.
Yeah. I think the interior line is better than the offensive tackle class. I'll tell you that. I am not huge on Penning, as nasty as he is. He loses reps too. I honestly, as a grade, Penning would not be in the first round if this was last year's class. No. I think he's right on the edge of it for me this year. Although a lot seem to really like him, so he could be overdrafted quite a bit. Yeah. Not impressed with Pickens at the combine. He ran a 4.4 for his size, but I thought it was like a 4.49 is what I thought I saw. Let me double check that. I expected him to be a 4.3 guy. Evidently, that's what he did when he came to Georgia as a freshman.
You're in a 4.47
as a sophomore. 4.47. Okay, so yeah, it's slower than I expected. He looks quicker on film than me.
He does, and the big thing for me is his vertical was much lower than I was expecting. So I personally think that he's not all the way back yet. That's my own personal.
That's a fair point because the ACL does affect the power generation there. There's a lot of torque. Steve, what are the chances we get a really good player at 30? And do you think Veach already knows who he's picking? I don't know. We won't know about it. And, we'll hear after the draft if he's picked someone and really taken it to Andy like he did with Clyde or something. But yes, this is a good draft. I think the teams that are in the top 15 have a riskier proposition of getting a good player than the teams 15 to 30.
Very much.
32.
I agree with that.
Chris, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. Info, does Casey target a cheap linebacker to replace Hitchens or Sorensen? I mean, they could, but he's got to be a backup, not to be somebody that starts.
Yeah, I agree.
I think a vet in the room would go a long way, though. Brett, which top 10 talent hurts themselves the most at the combine? And if there's a point that they start sliding, would they trade up? I think Kayvon Thibodeau hurt himself by not competing.
Yeah, it's just Thibodeau.
Yeah. I live in Indiana. I tended. Tyler, you were at the DB workout. Rock on. Little upsetting to see the Chiefs booth empty compared to other teams. Well, I will tell you this. Both the Chiefs DB coaches were on the field. That's partly why. You saw Dave Merritt running some drills. That's important, by the way. You saw the tight end coach, Tom, I'm blanking on his name now. He was running some drills. I think I saw Andy Heck on the field at times. Brendan Daly was out there. Like that's indicative. Joe Blameyer was running the wide receiver drills. That's why they're drafting wide receiver folks.
Yeah.
They want to take that opportunity to be hands-on with the guys at the combine. Chef, hope you're doing well.
What's going on, man?
And I hope you are a chef. And I just didn't.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, right. Doug, hit the like button. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. It doesn't hurt, I promise. I've heard that before. And interested in Steelers safety Terrell Edmonds. As a low-level signing, backup, see if he can compete. I'm okay with that. I think his brother's a much better player than he is, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Kevin, would you trade up for Treylon Burks? Out of 30? No. People were not impressed with his 40, but Arkansas, he plays well. I think this comparing him to Deebo Samuel is ridiculous. And quite frankly, I didn't mark Treylon down for anything because he ran exactly what I expected him to run at the combine. He wasn't that lightning fast on film.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. I was confused. Like everyone's talking about this guy. I'm like, he's gonna run 4.5. That's what he is. Like that's what he is.
He's not breaking that.
No, it's what it is.
But you're right. He has a knack with the ball in his hands. He understands yak. He understands angles. And honestly, he survives contact really well.
Yeah.
But like for everybody who's thinking in their head that Alabama performance, he isn't able to replicate that against lower competition. I didn't see that kind of dominance where he was making multiple plays in multiple ways against teams that honestly he should have been beating the snot out of. So that's one of my tweaks on him.
I get it.
Chris Weeks, not to mince words, I throw up a little every time you guys say RCJH.
It's just him.
What?
Or I thought it was Rock Chalk or something like that.
Well, it is, but well, hey,
it's not me.
I'm glad you Mizzou guys are here too, but I get to be me. I won't even tell you some of the stories. I promise you I won't. Is Josh McDaniels, Raiders coach, going to be good? I don't know. He couldn't do it the first time.
No. I'll just tell you no.
I will tell you the only chance that he has is this time he's supposedly not in charge of personnel. If they start to let that slide, they are screwed. But I will say that he has progressed as an offensive coordinator.
Okay.
So it is what it is. Ross, thank you. What will happen to Frank Clark and Honey Badger moving on? I don't think Frank will get signed. I think his off the field stuff is haunting him right now. And I think Tyrann will get a contract from somebody to come in and play a lot.
Right there with you.
Yeah. Okay. Doug, can't wait for the Matrix coming out. Very excited. I'm very happy for you. I will try to get it done as soon as I possibly can. I will warn you though, it is definitely going to be a process of updating this year because like there are whole position groups. Like Zion McCollum's the only guy who ran a 3-cone in the DB group. He's the only guy. And entire positions didn't bench. So like when a lineman won't bench, it's hard to come up with a power statistic.
Yeah.
I do have another statistics that I use. I only release that to the teams because it takes the bench out of it because I don't think the bench is a very good, measurement of how strong somebody is in their upper body, but that's me. Daxton will probably be testing himself out of our range without a trade. What's a good backup plan? Petrie, Brisker, those would be the top two behind him. I actually like Scene. It's pronounced.
Yeah, Scene, and he had a great combine.
He did. Yeah, he had a huge upside. But I will say this too: the guy that I like in the box, Robert Down, is Cook from Cincinnati. I like his game.
Yeah.
He's just not as fast. He's not a free. He shouldn't be playing too high. But you put him in the box or all the way up to 15 yards deep. I like what he brings. He's going to hit you till it hurts. Yeah. So there's a couple options, Jacob.
Yeah.
Here, take 604s. What do you think of this?
What up, man? So we got number one, Mafe. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And Scene, Quay Walker in the 3rd round, or is that just the 3rd pick? And Kobe Bryant, the 4th pick. Jerome Ford in the 4th. They all start. How do you rate? I mean, if you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters, I mean, you can't disagree with that. I think that you would want every draft pick you get to be a starter, and that would be awesome. I think that Walker is going to be better in the NFL than he was in college. I think he's shown some improvement. Seen as one of my favorite safeties in this class. Mafe, I'm actually going to be doing his film review for Wednesday if I can find some more film. So I'm hoping to be able to do that. And Jerome Ford is probably my favorite running back. I'm a big Jerome Ford fan.
You and me both. Dang. Good job. Which edge players do you guys foresee at the end of the first, and which would you take? It's tough. I have Karlaftis behind both Thomas and Jermaine Johnson. So I don't think he's that dynamic, I got to tell you. If he's there at 30, could I live with it? Yeah. But you're not getting Ben from him at all. No, and honestly, sometimes I think he's better as a 5-tech than he is as an edge. But I don't know. What do I have right now? I have my top 4. Hutchinson, Thibodeau, Walker, Ajabo. And yes, you guys, I know I haven't started the Substack yet, so you can have the rankings. I'm going to do that some night when I don't sleep. But after the top 4, I have Thomas, Johnson, Karlaftis, and then Sanders, but I haven't updated since the weekend. So like outside of the top 4, I would consider Thomas or Johnson and Karlaftis. Those are the only ones. What do you think?
Man, at the end of the first, At the end of the first, I think I'm considering Mafe from what I've seen and the athletic numbers. I think I'm okay taking a chance there. At 30, let's see. I think Thomas as well, like you said. If Johnson slips into the end of the first, I'm comfortable taking him there. 2, that's probably where it ends for me. I don't want to touch Karlaftis, like you said. I don't see it with George Karlaftis. I don't. I just don't, guys. And then I know that there's going to be some guys out there that get upset about that, and that's okay. That I don't have any issues with that. But and then that's pretty much where it falls off, and you have a lot of question marks.
I'm with you. I was going to wrap it after that one, but Holly threw something in here, so we'll get to that in a second. Would you rather have Allen Robinson or Juju and Gronk? I'll take Robinson.
Why do you have to throw Gronk in there? I
know, right? I don't know. I don't think Gronk has anything left, man.
No, I think the question with Robinson or Juju is good enough because you were talking about price point too. But in that situation, just give me Robinson.
I'm with you. Schneider. Oh, okay. This is for getting back on the good side, right? Rock Chalk Jayhawk. like it. And Holly, thank you very much. Thanks for the overtime and answering all the questions. Appreciate it. Thank you, Holly. We appreciate the support. It's really great. And I just realized that I probably have something else. Oh my God, it's an hour and a half. I am sorry. Good Lord. This is what happens in the off season. I get distracted. Sorry, guys. So yes, we will wrap it. I will say thank you to all the super chatters. Thank you for all of you spending time. 90 minutes. I'm dumb. I'm probably missing a show with Croc probably. So yes, we have to go do that. Thank you all very much. Dan has something. Is it Jordan Davis tomorrow?
Yeah, that's one of the smaller videos. And then I'm going to go over Orlando Brown and some more Matthew talk, just trying to get some of these things out of the way as we get closer to the league new year for tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. We will all week be putting out content, some small bites, some regular size videos. Don't miss them. Live on Thursday night again with Seth. Thank you guys for everything. Say hi to Aaron Morrow, our guy that runs everything around here so that we can actually do these shows, as well as Stevie and Gooch and Sean and the rest of the crew. Thank you all very much for your time tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.